What's up, guys? Welcome to the Line Change. And in this video, we're going to be going over an article by Stefan Roget on Canucks Army. And this article in particular, it asks a very good question. And that question is, how realistic is a midsummer offer sheet for the Vancouver Canucks? So obviously, people know what an offer sheet is. For those of you that don't know, it means that a team can offer a player a contract who is a restricted free agent. The player can accept the offer, but before it can go through, the player who they are currently still on, like the team that they're still on, can match the offer. And if they match the offer, the player stays on the team that they're currently on. So obviously, if a team has a lot of money and one of their players gets offer sheeted, they can easily outbid the team that is trying to get to, pillage this player, trying to pry this player away from this team. They can easily match that and keep them. Also, if a team is able to offer sheet someone and the team does not match the offer sheet, the team doing the offer sheet has to give up draft capital, which is basically compensation, which it could be a first round pick, could be a second round pick, could be a third round pick. It all depends on how much money they offer the player. And if it's a high amount, the higher the amount, the higher the draft compensation is. So it would be like, for example, maybe 3 first round picks or a first, second, and a third for one player. So that is how offer sheets work. But in this article, as I mentioned, that is the question. How realistic is a midsummer offer sheet for the Canucks? So we're going to dive into that. But before we do that, quickly, I want to give a shout out and thank you to my sponsor, Gassy Jack Art, maker of that incredible artwork you see behind me. And you guys can check him out yourselves at GassyJackArt.com. He's also on Instagram at GassyJackArt. So go ahead, check him out, GassyJackArt.com. So let's go ahead and dive into this topic. As we mentioned, an article written by Stefan Roget of Canucks Army. Offer sheets are a lot like being Marlon Brando in The Godfather. You try to make someone an offer they can't refuse, and everyone thinks you're a bad guy because of it. It's no real surprise that the topic of offer sheets has come up again in Vancouver hockey circles. The Canucks are notably in the midst of a search for a genuine 2C, and there happen to be at least a couple of very good young center RFAs still without contracts at this midway point in the offseason. But for a multitude of reasons, offer sheets remain one of the rarest occurrences in the wide world of hockey transactions. So how realistic is it for the Canucks to pull off at this stage in the summer? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about, first and foremost, who can receive an offer sheet. This basically sums up what I just kind of said. First and foremost, a player needs to be a restricted free agent in order to receive an offer sheet. These RFAs are distinct from unrestricted free agents or UFAs, in that they're not freely available to the league-wide market. All RFAs have had their rights retained by their current teams through the making of a minimal qualifying offer, but they haven't agreed yet to that offer or to any other made by their club. A quick glance at our friends over at Puckpedia tells us that as of Friday morning, there are still 20 unsigned RFAs left in the league. However, not all of them are eligible for offer sheets. An RFA also needs the requisite experience in order to be eligible for an offer sheet. The players sign their entry-level contract between the ages of 18 and 21. That's 3 years of professional experience. They sign between 22 and 23. It's 2 pro years, and anything past that requires just 1 pro year. If a player hasn't hit these thresholds, they're deemed a 10.2C RFA and are not eligible to receive offer sheets. This includes a few of the remaining RFAs, most notably Luke Hughes of the New Jersey Devils, which is not going to make Canuck fans very happy, and also Alex Laferriere of the Los Angeles Kings. Player is also not eligible for an offer sheet if they or their team have opted for arbitration. This actually covers a lot of the remaining RFAs, including Dylan Sandberg of the Winnipeg Jets, Jaden Struble of the Montreal Canadiens, Nick Robertson of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Connor Timmins of the Buffalo Sabres. Really, that leaves just a small handful of those still able to receive offer sheets as of late July. Fortunately for the Canucks, that list includes 2 players they should be very interested in. 2 players that, Canucks fans have heard a lot about over the last few months, few weeks. That, of course, being Mason McTavish of the Anaheim Ducks and Marco Rossi of the Minnesota Wild. Let's talk about when can a team make an offer sheet. It's important to remember that offer sheets are two-way streets. They have to be accepted by the player for the process to truly begin, as we mentioned at the top of this video. And players are always free to turn them down, but before that can happen, the offer has to be made. Offer sheets can be made to an eligible player at any point between July 1st and December 1st in any given year. So the Canucks still have a few months to consider offer sheets for McTavish or Rossi if they wish, so long as their negotiations with their current teams continue to stay at a standstill. However, teams are not allowed to make offer sheets unless they already have the required compensation at hand already. When an offer sheet is made, the team who originally held that player's rights has a week to decide if they want to match it, meaning the player signs the same contract as in the offer sheet, but with their original club, or to accept the already prescribed draft pick compensation package instead, as we mentioned. For the 2025-26 contractual season, the compensation structure looks like this. An offer sheet of under $1.5 million, there is no compensation. For something that is over 1.5 million to 2.3 million, the compensation is 1 third-round pick. The next compensation, 2.3 up to 4.6 million, is 1 second-round pick. A offer sheet AAV of 4.6 up to 7 million is 1 first-round pick, 1 third-round pick, and then you have from 7 million up to 9.3 million, you have 1 first-round pick, 1 second-round pick, and 1 third-round pick. Then 9.3 million up to 11.7 million, 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick, and 1 third-round pick. And then if it's over 11.7 million, that is 4 first-round picks. So, and then just to a key note, all those draft picks have to be your own draft pick. They can't be like, for example, if the Canucks have a Florida Panthers first-round pick, they cannot use that. They have to use their own draft picks. There are a couple of key things to remember with this chart. First, and that teams don't really get to pick and choose which picks are included with the offer sheet. For the most part, it's a team's own picks, as we just mentioned, in the next draft. Meaning for this offer sheet period, they need to come from the 2026 draft. The only exemption to this is at the 2 highest tiers where compensations involving multiple picks in the same round allow for an extra year per extra pick in order to decide. Meaning a team needing to give up 2 first-round picks would have to give them up between 2026 and 2028. As well, note that the offer sheet's AAV is always derived by dividing the total offer sheet by the number of contract years, or 5, whichever number is lowest. A 7-year offer sheet, in other words, is still dividing by only 5 years for the purposes of determining the compensation and thus can get quite expensive. As we said, the Canucks can't even make an offer they're not eligible to pay compensation for, and as they currently do not possess their 2026 third-round selection, traded to Calgary for Nikita Zadorov 2 seasons ago, they are ineligible for most tiers of offer sheets, as all but 3 require a team's own third. The 3 tiers the Canucks are currently eligible for are the lowest tier, no compensation, the 2.34 million and 4.6 million, 1 second-round pick, and the maximum tier, 4 first-round picks. That unfortunately leaves their options extremely limited. Canucks could again become eligible for all of the other offer sheet tiers if they were able to reacquire the 2026 third rounder from the Flames. but that would be entirely up to the Flames, and it's hard to imagine pulling off such a deal without Calgary knowing exactly what they were up to. Now let's talk about how does it apply to McTavish and Rossi. As it stands, the Canucks are still eligible to make offer sheets to McTavish and Rossi, but only certain offer sheets. Let's dispense with the lower tiers right away. Neither McTavish nor Rossi is going to sign for below $1.5 million. And if they did, their teams would happily match. Same goes for that second round tier, which requires offers of values between $2.3 million and $4.6 million. If either player were willing to sign for that amount, it'd already be done. And the Ducks and Wild would be grateful for the opportunity to match. For now, that leaves the Canucks with that uppermost tier, and it's a doozy. Signing players at the uppermost tier requires 4 first-round picks from the next 5 drafts. These picks cannot have any protection applied to them, either save for the option to skip 1 year of compensation out of the 5. That's an incredible risky proposition for any team, but especially a team in the Canucks' own mercurial position. Would you think that if either Rossi or McTavish were to be offered an offer sheet with a value in excess of $11.7 million, they'd sign it? They'd be foolish not to. There are ways to play around with it. The Canucks could look to offer that amount for just a single year, and then hope to sign the player to something more reasonable once their rights were secured. This is something that the Carolina Hurricanes did with Jesperi Kotkaniemi back in the day, though that didn't exactly work out for them. It's probably a better option than committing to paying either player that amount over the long term, something they haven't earned yet and might not, ever. There's no possibility for the cap-strapped Wild to match an offer on Rossi of that max tier. I mean, they already made it known they're not willing to go to 7x7 with Rossi. The Ducks, with their $20 million plus of cap space, would be able to match, but they might reasonably choose to take the 4 first-round picks instead. But is either player truly worth 4 first-round picks? Not to mention at least a year of an 11.7 plus salary, something Canucks would need to move a lot of cap out in order to fit. It's hard to get to a place where the answer to that question is yes, which means the answer to the question in the headline of whether it's realistic to expect a midsummer offer sheet from the Canucks is still no. So there you go. I will leave a link to this article in the description down below. You guys can read it yourselves, maybe learn a little bit more about offer sheets. But as always, if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. You can find and interact with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change to find our Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. You can find us on X at Line Change Van. You can find us on TikTok at the TLC Podcast. You can also find us on Blue Sky at The Line Change. And feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. If you prefer a audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcast. On Spotify, feel free to give us a follow as well as rate and review us. It is, of course, greatly appreciated. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, let's go Canucks. And I'll see you guys in the next video.